Hello everybody, this is Maniac for Bricks, and I'm here today with another LEGO throwback, flashback, whatever you want to call it, video. The actual title has not been formed at the time of recording this, but you will see it in the top on the title screen. So, let's take a look at what we have for today. It's a letter from LEGO. I wonder what they're writing to me about. Why would they be sending me mail? Well, this one has a fun story to it, and this one's definitely a personal account with LEGO. First on the top, it shows you a nice little heading. I don't know if they still do this, but around the time of the letter in here, this is what it looked like. We'll get to the actual details in just a moment. I suppose I'll read to you the letter at first, the one that I sent to LEGO. That would explain a lot of what LEGO sent back. So, I'm reading this exactly as I wrote it. And it actually has a date on it, which is helpful for this video. This was written November 8th, 2005. So keep in mind, at this time, I was around in 5th grade. And I had a lot of ideas for LEGO. I was making a whole bunch of different things on my own. I remember watching a lot of Nickelodeon TV shows and thinking, wouldn't it be cool if those were made in LEGO? Wouldn't it be cool to have sets of those? I remember at that time, I would think about shows such as Rocket Power, SpongeBob, maybe Rugrats, I'm not really sure, but there were definitely a bunch of Nickelodeon shows, and I remember those two distinctly, that I wanted to see as LEGO sets. I was happy to get one of my wishes right, when I got the LEGO SpongeBob SquarePants coming out in 2006, excuse me. But I still had some other ideas that weren't exactly license-based. I just thought maybe they'd be cool to have with, partially with what LEGO was making at the time, or maybe something that they weren't making. So here's what the letter actually says. Dear LEGO, I have seen mostly a lot of your great sets, but I thought if I could help make newer ideas for you. The reason why you might have to pay for some is because I put all of my hard work into each of my ideas. Here are the listed ideas, with a colon. And then each of these afterwards are bulleted points. So the first one says, of the new Bionicle battle sets you've made, I've made one of my own, called Rudaka's Lair, with a mini Rudaka figure. Here is its side view. And it's a very crude photo on here from when it was printed. So there's some idea of it, and it was kind of going along the idea of when LEGO started making different miniaturized Bionicle sets, much like you've seen over here, the Tower of Toa. They made the Bionicle figures, which are usually much larger than LEGO pieces. They shrunk them down to a sort of minifigure scale, and used LEGO pieces to surround it instead of Bionicle pieces, or mostly LEGO pieces. So my idea was to base a set on Rudaka's Lair, since they already had this line going of sets from the Vizirac era. And it also says on the bottom, price of idea, $9.99. Now keep in mind again, this was in 5th grade, so you might have already heard some grammatical errors, and a lot of the concept behind this was not exactly... I would not write the same letter today as I would have written in 2005. Excuse me. And then another bullet point says, another Bionicle idea I had was a Game Boy Advance game called Bionicle Quest of the Rahaga. And there was a picture there, but it didn't actually show up on the letter from when it was printed, so it just has a thumbnail. Price of idea, $10.99. To view, click on it. Now, obviously, I did not know that at the time, if I was going to send a letter to LEGO, they can't click on it like an email. I don't think I was even that familiar with email. And then there's a third idea. I made for the first time ever my own mini-scaled LEGO monorail, in quotes. Price of idea, $19.99. Again, there's a crude photo of it shown here. It did not capture the exact quality of what I made, but I know what it looked like. As opposed to the earlier idea of Rudaka's Lair, I don't remember what that looked like. I think I might have made that one with having a bridge across it, and it had like a flame underneath with a motor, so it was spinning. I remember making that. But at least with the monorail, And I know you're already going to say some things about it, but I'll get to that in just a sec. With the monorail, it was made on a 16 by 32 base plate. The track for it went to one side, up, and then to the other side. There was no curving in the track, by the way. These were all just straight lines like that. The monorail was somewhat able to turn, although I had to keep taking pieces off every time I wanted to make the car actually turn to the side. It would have a train station on one end, and on the other end it would have a small tunnel, kind of formed around Rock Mountain. So, kind of like Bricks for Chris's idea for a train running through a tunnel. Or maybe 8-Ball Man's idea, by today's standards. I also remembered in that time, I was also using pieces from the Hogwarts Express. So I used some of those bricks that had the stickers on them that said King's Cross as a way of making a train station for this monorail. On the bottom it also says, "Your Lego Club member, Joey Maluso." That's my name. Don't wear it out. So obviously, as you can tell by this short letter, with very little detail, crude photos, and giant text, that I was in 5th grade. This was a time, obviously, before more official letter writing, or before I learned better about how to write a letter, especially to a company like Lego. Now, I didn't send this to Denmark. This address comes from Connecticut. And I'm pretty sure that's the only address I really knew at that time, because it came on the back of every LEGO magazine. But here is what they've replied with. This is interesting. Dear Joseph, thank you for your letter from 11/25/2005, when it got received, and for your interest in our LEGO products. This was written back on November 28th, 2005. As you know, versatility is the foundation of LEGO toys. And since LEGO maniacs and their families are so creative, we receive many new product ideas from parents and children. We sincerely appreciate your generous intent. It is quite a compliment when a consumer voluntarily takes their valuable time to share their thoughts with us. Each year, hundreds of new LEGO sets are introduced, and our assortment now includes exciting new items, such as games and puzzles. Within the LEGO group, there are several research and development areas, whose sole purpose is to formulate new product ideas, compatible elements, instructions booklets, etc. From start to finish, a new item will require in-depth research and design work long before it appears at your LEGO store. To avoid confusion about the origin of products during this development process, we have a long-standing company policy, which prohibits us from accepting outside ideas. I'm sure that this policy may seem rigid, especially for someone who simply has a great idea they wish to share with the LEGO group. However, for legal reasons, we have to abide by this policy. Thank you again for contacting us. We wish your family many happy hours of creative building with LEGO brand toys in the years to come. Sincerely, Jennifer, LEGO Direct Consumer Services. And that is how the LEGO letter looks. Very well written. I may have not understood it at the time, but to sum up what has been said in that letter, they're basically saying, we hire people at the LEGO Group, to come up with new ideas, design concepts, building techniques, and everything that you'll see in a LEGO set much later. So even ideas that I'm talking about right now may already be in the works, but may have not just been because I wrote the idea to them. Also, they cannot accept outside ideas, so they can keep the idea of their products a lot more, original. I guess that would be the right word. Although this was also a time a little bit before Lego Factory. And Lego Factory, or as we know it today, designed by me, the Lego digital designer, Lego Factory started out with the idea of coming up with concepts with Lego pieces and allowing people to submit their ideas to Lego with some sort of design for a set, and those sets actually became real. So very few people got to have these ideas at that opportunity. But I can totally understand now that what this means, and I'm not offended in any way about that. And also, I was happy to learn that monorails were already made by LEGO before I even thought of the idea, before I was even born. They've been making monorails in the 1980s and 90s. About 3 different LEGO sets are monorails, and they're much more advanced and much more productive than anything that I could have built. But I'm totally okay with that, because they know what they're doing at LEGO, and I'm sure they're still doing well. So thank you for watching this video. Hope you guys enjoyed this letter, and we'll see you next time with more LEGO Flashbacks.